And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Market Recap. It's still Monday, October the 17th, 2 days to October 19th, one of the scariest days in history in my life. The world is still crazy. Crude prices closed down exactly 1 cent today. Very small range today for crude oil. Had some strong banking earnings push U.S. stocks higher. NASDAQ leads the way to the upside. Unofficially, the S&P's closed up 91 points. The NASDAQ, well, that's about 2.5%. NASDAQ closed up 365 points. That's 3.4%. The Dow futures ended up about 435 points higher at 1.8%. Another kind of milestone that I don't think anybody's real happy about, the yield on the 10-year today traded up above 4% for the first time since 2008. So maybe not some good news. Other than that, in the news, of course, the world is still a crazy place. Keep praying for peace, please. As far as the markets, crude oil price just really idled, seemingly awaiting some new information. Even the S&P and the NASDAQ. Overnight buyers continue to get paid as buying deepens against the relief rally here. The gold price is weaker, and the dollar was no help for gold, especially those gold longs overnight. We saw some pretty long overnight inventory. Those overnight longs took a little bit of a beating today. The euro, the weak dollar, did help pushing prices higher. The 10-year, overnight rally fizzles as yields rally. And the weekend gap in natural gas, really the bigger move was in the overnight, really fell into digestion today. We're going to see that in the charts later on. As always, appreciate everybody joining me today. My name is John Hoagland. I don't think I introduced myself, and thanks again for trusting me with your time. Take a deep breath. The trading day's over. And we can take a little bit of a chill now, rest up for tomorrow. As always, I ask that you hit the lucky like button, share, comment, question, feedback, heckling, and love is always welcome here on the recap, as well as the forecast and everything else. We had a great session, I thought, in group coaching today. A lot of really good questions, a lot of challenging questions, and I hope that you got your questions answered. And we do that again on Wednesday, 1 p.m. tomorrow. 1 p.m. Wednesday, I should say. Tomorrow morning, we have the market forecast, and we'll be going back to Make Hoag Money tomorrow at about 8:20. You guys are going to make some decisions and see if you can't make me a little bit of real money in the markets tomorrow after the market forecast. I always look forward to doing those. Good afternoon, everyone. George is absolutely right. And I don't know how he did in the markets today, but he knows exactly where Lacey is right now. She is up on the forbidden couch. If Mom was home, she'd be in big trouble, but that's okay. I don't mind that she's on the forbidden couch. Good afternoon. Tachyon down 155 for practice, taking things slow after last week's combine reset. Didn't know that you had a reset last week, Tachyon, but yes, definitely take your time. Good afternoon, my friend Vince. DA, good afternoon. Everybody have a good day. Haggle Matters, Dimitar, the Rooster. Hey, there's no sorry in being late. I'm not going to make you clean out the erasers. Good, Haggle Matters. I thought you enjoyed the group coaching session. I'm glad. And Glitter Sandwich with us this afternoon. So this is the recap. We just kind of relax a little bit. We kind of peruse through the charts here in just a little bit. And we'll see what we see and start getting our thoughts together for tomorrow. Seth, there's a question here. You always say, take a deep breath, market is closed, but doesn't Top Step trade futures? So the day is only really a little done. Am I wrong, or does Top Step trade equities? No, we trade futures. But for all intents and purposes, in the equities, the New York Stock Exchange is now closed. The cash markets are closed. There's really not a lot of opportunity after 3 p.m. And at Top Step, we want everybody to be flat by 309.59. So I know I'm done. Very rarely do I have a position on after 3 p.m. But you can, still have a position on until 309.59, which is flat by 310. Flat by 310, so we can get your trade reports to you. And I always say take a deep breath in the morning too, Seth, if you watch the forecast, because just to try and get us kind of centered and calmed and prepared for the trading day, we always take our deep breath. So you saw Delta diverging all day on Friday in the ES and expected today to be bullish, and sure enough, never found a safe entry though. Well, that happens. Unfortunately, sometimes the safe entries happen before the regular trading hours, and that leaves us a little bit more of a challenge to try and get into a decent opportunity. I mean, if you weren't in that long relatively quick this morning in the equities and the S&Ps and the NASDAQ, you were kind of missing the best trade location of the day, which, I'm not real big on Mondays, not real big on early trades, but it did give you a couple of opportunities as the market kind of leaked back down towards that opening range to give you an opportunity to look for a long position. We'll take a look at that shortly in the charts, but nice vision, and you see how sometimes that paying attention to the delta at open interest, the volume, all of that can lead you to an opportunity to protect yourself from getting in front of something like that, and lead you to finding good ways to get into it. So I think you're making some good progress there, Glitter Sandwich. Always a pleasure to see that. Let's take a look at the charts. Let's start with the crude. Won't be much to really talk about there. Still in our bull flag. No attempt to try and bust out of that today. Look at this range. Just barely broke out above the overnight high, still in range from the yesterday, or Friday, I should say. Didn't take out the low of the overnight here, just barely below the low of the range from Friday, and just a kind of a range-bound day. We did move value a little bit higher, but however, we did settle within 1 penny of Friday's settlement. Here's the E-mini S&Ps. So, kind of what my brother calls UPCing or barcoding. You got barcodes here. We did close at the high. Volume was relatively low in futures. Wasn't bad in New York, though. Some pretty good volume in New York. Here's the overnight inventory that we were looking at that was long. The bigger part of the range was actually in the overnight. Our opening range was the low of the regular trading hour session, and it really just held there. Now, if you remember, we thought about what it looked like on Friday, the increase in open interest on the downside. Did we end up getting some trades too short? And what we have here, as far as profile ease is concerned, is a P-shaped profile, which indicates short covering. Short covering. We also left a pretty weak high from the regular trading hour session here. This is an unfinished upside auction, ladies and gentlemen. So when we look at the profiles, we look at all of this excess down here. Price got too short. Buyers swiftly came in, bought up all those bargains, pushed back on Friday, push higher today, short covering rally, weak high. Is this an unfinished upside auction, or was it just the fact that the shorts that were trying to get out weren't willing to push the price any higher? I don't know. This weak high here is something I'll be keeping an eye on through the rest of the week. It looks more like an unfinished upside auction to me. Here's the NASDAQ, which was the real winner today. It looks about the same as the S&Ps. A lot of overnight inventory, opening range the low of the session, and buyers just continuing to put pressure without really much range extension. We don't have that same weak high in the S&Ps that we did in the NASDAQ. Where are we here? So we do have a degree of excess at the high here in the NASI. Here's the 30-minute. P-shaped profile again, though. Short covering with a little bit of excess. At the high, here's the gold. Glitter, you couldn't be more correct about that. There's always more to learn. I've been doing this 30 years. And the markets are always offering me opportunities to learn something new. We were able to hold this trend line at the bottom here by the end of the session today, so I'm kind of pleased about that. But overall, the downside structure in gold still seems to be in control. And an attempt to continue a rally, overnight inventory long, tried to continue to push this market higher, unable to do so, coming off relatively well before the end of the regular trading hour day, and even again twice as much after the 12:30 New York close. Market continued to push lower. We just ended up too long in short time frame, and we needed to unravel and cover that and cover all of that space in the opposite direction. Here's the euro. Finally, we get a little bit of action here. Volume was really not all that good. It was the dollar that kind of fell off today that pushed the euro higher. Here's the 30. Opening and range and in value, really driving outside of that and above last week's range here. So we're going to be monitoring for continuation to the upside above last week's high here. Might be an interesting might be kind of an interesting spot for us to kind of keep an eye for opportunities against last week's high. Ten-year. Toeing the line. Again, the yield on the 10-year up at levels we haven't seen since 2008. Not pleased about it, really, but it is what it is. Really towed that line today on that trend line. Shrinking, though. Second higher low. Second higher high. We're going to put this trend line, we're going to put these lines on here. To remind us that this market is coiling and a bigger opportunity may come once we accept outside of this pennant formation. We've only got a couple of points of contact on the upper one. Couple of points of contact on the lower line here. But we're going to keep an eye on these. If this happens during regular trading hours, it might offer some decent opportunity. I might take my second or third trade this year in the 10-year. We'll have to see. And here is finally Nat Gas. We got our weekend gap continuation during early hours. Extended trading, but the regular trading hours didn't do much. Here's our gap. Here's the overnight. Here's regular trading hours. Not a lot of momentum. Just some digestion here. What's the volume look like? Now, one more thing I wanted to kind of look at here. is in the S&Ps. We've got this gap here. We tried to get to it. We were unable to finish it on Friday. But this kind of creates an island top. Now, if price had been moving up to this and moving up to this and moving up to this and then leaving this island top, I would be much more concerned about it. What I'd like to see happen is for us to create an island bottom. For us to gap open tomorrow, leaving this gap unclosed, would create an island bottom for us, which to me, I think, seems to make a lot more sense to push us higher than up to an island top. How about an island bottom and then we go higher? I'd be all down for that. I would be all down for that. So tomorrow, as far as economic numbers are concerned, we're facing industrial production at 8:15, which will be right at the right before Make Hogue money. Housing market index at 9. But mostly the most important number tomorrow is going to be that industrial production number. We don't know how important it's going to be. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when. But we'll be keeping an eye. And then we start a series of Talking Feds tomorrow with Raphael Bostic at 1 p.m. and Cash Carey at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. So no early Talking Feds tomorrow. We have Cash Carey at noon on Wednesday, which is the day the Beige Book comes out, which means we are 2 weeks from Fed Day. Interesting day. Interesting things happened on this day today. In 1931, a gangster Al Capone was sentenced to 11 years in prison for tax evasion and fined 80 grand. So that Big Al went to jail on this day. In 1989, the Oakland-San Francisco World Series game was postponed because of an earthquake. 1973, OPEC enacts the oil embargo, which cut U.S. exports to the United States. 1974, on this date, President Ford explained his pardon of Nixon to Congress. Remember the movie Benji? That opened in theaters in 1974. I remember that. Remember that movie. As far as music is concerned, 1981, Christopher Cross started a 3-week run at #1, not with sailing, but with Arthur's theme, The Best That You Can Do. The theme from one of the funniest movies I think I've ever seen, Arthur. Today is Eminem's birthday. He was born in 1972. Ziggy Marley's birthday is today. In 1968 he was born. Happened to be the last day that his father got a haircut. Alan Jackson's birthday is today, 1958, of country music. Jim Seals' birthday is today. He was born in 1941, of Seals and Crofts. Great songwriting duo. And that's about it. That's about all the fun I've got for today. So have a great night. Get rested up. Do your homework. And be prepared for tomorrow. A lot of folks want to be consistent and profitable traders, to which I ask them, how consistent are you in what you're bringing to the markets? How do you do your homework? Same way every time? Do you do your homework? What about your review? What about your journal? Are you taking care of everything that you know you need to be taken care of to be a successful and profitable and consistent trader? It's not gonna happen for you. You've got to do it. So finish up today, get some rest, get a good meal, get a good night's sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for the market forecast. 7:45, same bat time, same bat channel. Blessings to you all, and we'll see you in the morning. Have a good night.